Hi, my name is Matthew Griffith, and my FOA is on code switching, language, and the individual. My learning outcomes will be that the student will analyze the impact of language changes, and the student will demonstrate an awareness of how language and meaning are shaped by culture and context. My references are Amy Tan's essay, Mother Tongue, and NPR podcast, 6 Moments of Code Switching in Popular Culture. Code switching is the change between either two languages, like speaking English and Spanish in one sentence, or it could be changes within one language using a different register or a different tone. We all code switch, whether we notice or not, whether it's talking to a teacher and talking to students, or switching between fellow students speaking differently. Now my first reference is going to be Amy Tan's Mother Tongue. Amy Tan is American and Chinese. And in her essay, Mother Tongue, she begins talking about how she is giving a speech, and she gives many speeches, and when she does give a speech, she uses high vocabulary, educated language, and she doesn't notice the change of her talking until she makes a speech in front of her mother, and her mother uses broken English. Amy Tan transitions between educated language and broken language, and she doesn't realize this until speaking in front of her mother. Now, this is a case of code switching. When we communicate to our audience and want our audience to understand certain things, we have to talk a different way. She talks to the people listening to her speech with high vocabulary, very educated, because that's what they came for. They came for to hear a writer, someone who is good in their craft, but when she talks to her mom just wants to hear her daughter, someone that she raised and has grown up hearing the same thing that her mother says, so she responds in the way her mother wants to be responded by, which is with broken language. In code switching, there's 2 different types, as I mentioned, and Amy Tan is expressing the second one, where we change our register or our tone to be understood. Another example I have of this comes from NPR podcast, 6 Moments of Code Switching in Popular Culture, with President Obama. I believe it's called a GIF. And he's shaking hands with people of, I think it's the USA basketball team. And first he comes up to this Caucasian male, and he gives him a simple handshake, and then he gets to Kevin Durant, and then he does the handshake, and then he brings it in for like a hug kind of thing. This could, you could take this separate ways. Possibly Kevin Durant and Obama have met before, forming a better relationship than him and the Caucasian male. But I perceive it as culture, and they have a common bond being African American, so that's something that's a given that they already are related with. So President Obama is more comfortable doing it with Kevin Durant, a hug kind of thing. This is also like acceptable, whether if Obama did that to the Caucasian male and not to Kevin Durant, it would be really odd, and maybe Kevin Durant would get offended by it. So Obama is showing code switching in the second form again by different register, different physical language here. Okay, and then another form I used was I showed Drake. He's a Canadian rapper. I showed him talking after an interview that he did for a music video. There was some vulgarity, but I tried to cut it down. So this is going to be him talking after the interview. Then keep looking.
Okay, back.
Okay, so the second form I was talking about was the change in language with register and tone, and then here we have Drake after an interview on HYFR, and so he talks in a certain way. You can play it. I'm sorry for vulgarity if there is.
So we just wrapped the video. Incredible video, incredible day, incredible cast. Like, he said it, like, that's what it's about for us, man. It's just about this Toronto shit. This is like what, this man has been living and breathing since I was like, since I was coming up, and I remember being in my city, and I was telling him today, like, I've never seen anybody do it better than him and his team as far as organization.
Alright, and then I have another interview of Drake on Katie Couric. CBS News. This isn't at the exact moment I was looking for, but you can play this one. I think it covers it pretty well.
He embraces it, and you know, if he ever does hear this interview, I mean, he is one of the greatest human beings on this planet.
Yeah,
so.
do you think he's misunderstood? Because first of all, I don't think people appreciate or realize how smart he is, for one.
I think that they do, and to me, to be honest, I will say that Wayne is the closest thing we have to an iconic figure in my generation. He is the closest thing to a Hendrix or a Bob Marley or somebody, or a Che Guevara, like somebody whose face will be on TV.
So I wasn't really using this moment, but in the moment it kind of was like this. In the Katie Couric interview, he talks with a register and tone that's calm, confident. Really, he doesn't seem loose like he does in the other one, where he's talking like this and he has a lot of pauses and he uses the word like a lot. But the difference here I'm trying to show is that he's appealing to two different audiences. In the hip-hop video one, he's appealing to a hip-hop crowd where they like to see Drake and they want to see him in the image of a rapper, so they want him to pronounce words a certain way. He wants the sound pronounced with a D, with duh. And they want him to be a rapper. They want Drake to be the part, and so Drake has to sell that part by changing the way he talks to appeal to that crowd. In the Katie Couric interview, his audience is probably different. Katie Couric's, she appeals to like people who want news, who don't necessarily follow the hip-hop crowd, so Drake has to change the way he talks. He becomes more educated, he becomes like more he smiles more, he uses a higher vocabulary, he doesn't use vulgarity, and he just is there to sell himself as this good guy that hopefully he'll get more followers with through people who see this interview and realize, oh, Drake's pretty cool, let me follow him. And so this all covered the second part of code switching, which is changing the way we talk in one language, whether it's a register and tone, to sell to the audience a certain to sell like a certain thing to them, to be understood and to be accepted. Now the second type is when we use two different languages in like a brief period of time. And I used a video from NPR podcast 6 Moments of Code Switching, and this one's called Does Your Asian Mom Vote, I believe, where she switches between Mandarin and English. So if you could play that, that would be great.
I never vote. What does it matter? Wait, holding out.
Well, I registered to vote when I got my driver's license, so after this, I'm gonna go hit the polls.
Wait, you keep your head down and study. When you apply for the medical school and the law school, do they ever ask you if you vote or not? 管好自己就可以了. What does it matter? What is one thing that will happen?
Here you can really see the influences of two different cultures with her Chinese and her American culture. She's selling to her sons the not importance of voting, but you can obviously see this as code switching, because if she used that to like a waiter speaking in Mandarin and English, she'd be like, what's going on? This is weird. And if she did that to her other friends who spoke just Mandarin, it would also seem odd to her. So she wants to tell her sons and wants her sons to receive her word with both meaning that she can express in Mandarin and in English. Now, I have the similar situation where my mom speaks Tagalog in English, and I have a section of her talking in a next slide. And she talks in Tagalog and in English about my trip to Miami that's coming up, and she's talking to my aunt, who also speaks Tagalog and English, so if you could play that.
You have to go on section.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thought it was playing like the first time.
Right click it, you can play like place it. Like if you right there, the thing, like hit escape and go back to where you saw the little like music and try right clicking it. And if there's a little play sound button.
Probably preview. Try that.
Preview.
Hi Vic! Kumusta? Si Ate to. Tumawag lang ako dahil gusto ko malaman mo kung natanggap na mo na yung flight details ni Matthew tsaka ni Auburn. They're leaving here on June 16 at around 1 o'clock. O sige, tawagan lang kita uli, ha? Okay, bye-bye.
Through this, we can see that my mom speaks in 2 different languages, and she uses it pretty much to explain what she wants to say in 2 different languages, because in Tagalog, she can't probably express what she wants in English, and in English, she doesn't really express what she wants in Tagalog. My mom code switches because she doesn't usually use this talking with us, at least not that much Tagalog, but she used some. And if this was to an English coworker, our English coworker would be like, "What's going on? I don't understand." So my mom has to find what's appropriate, and then she makes a decision on what English to use and how much of Tagalog she needs to use for it. So, in conclusion, culture really influences how we speak, and so does our surroundings. Simply put, like, the way we talk is influenced by our culture, the way we communicate with others is influenced. In personal experience, the way I talk to other students may change because on how much I know them or how much we are comfortable with each other, so I might talk different. I talk different to teachers than I do with students, and that's pretty much to get my understanding and meaning across. So in conclusion, that is the aspect of code switching in language and the individual. Thank you.